I do good for good's sake, with no thought of compensation. And I've evolved to the point where I don't care a thing about getting rewards.
All right. Welcome to the MixedupMike Show. Glad everyone can tune in. I have a very special guest today. This man is a legend. Todd Griffin, a.k.a. Pharoah.
You're too kind, Mike. Thank you so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here, man.
Not a problem, man.
I'm really humbled to have you here.
It's great to be on, man. It's nice. It's nice to be seen. It's good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, how long you been DJing for?
Oh God. So I started DJing when I started learning when I was 13. So that was 1983. And then I got into it and got my first professional gig I was getting paid for when I was 15, so 85. And that was Bermuda Triangle, which was in Copley Place in Boston. And I was like the little weird white kid that scratched records and the only white kid there. And I had to stand on milk crates because I was so short. I was 15, and it was a 21 plus club. It was known for doing really good hip hop, and I just happened to really take to DJing at a young age. I met a couple of kids that were brothers whose father was a prior radio DJ, and they had a set of 1200s, and they had gotten into the culture, and I loved it, and I was roller skating at the time, and I was a break dancer at the time, and I was into hip hop and rapping, and it just like fit right into the mold of what I really was getting into at that time. You know, that was like molding my entire like personality. You know what I mean, of what I was going to become, and from that point forward, I just have always DJ'd. And so, yeah, my first pro gig was in 85, so we're looking at, 2021 now, so 2022, 35, 36 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, yeah.
That's all right.
Most people be like, old school, and I'm like, which one? Like,
we got a hashtag going, hashtag old man DJs.
Oh, yeah.
Show got started.
Yeah. I've seen that. It's funny.
You got to run with that one.
I'm the oldest one here. I'm always the oldest DJ in the room, unless I'm like hanging out with like Giorgio Moroder, who's like 70.
That's all right. That's all right. So, I heard, you've opened for some pretty big names over your career.
Yeah. The groups that I was in got to do a lot of really great stuff, and we get to open for a lot of acts. Open for Kanye and Elton John and Alicia Keys and ZZ Top and The Killers and a lot of bands, just a lot of bands. We played with a lot of them. One Republic. I mean, we played with so many bands.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's it's just part of like what happens. I mean, everyone's kind of doing the same thing, and so you're bound to run into people and be booked for the same shows because there's just a million booking agents out there. They're constantly just like routing tours, and so you always end up like bumping into the same people. I mean, there's guys that we would run into constantly. I ran into Weird Al Yankovic, for instance. Like, seriously, like, for some reason, our tours always intersected at least once a year, and we'd go see a Weird Al Yankovic, and, like, so it's just weird. Like, you just kind of, like, birds of a feather flock together. You get to, you get to, like, kind of meet everyone, and then being in Vegas, a Vegas entertainer, all the entertainers hang out together, because it's either that or you hang out with people that are there for 4 days, because it's a transient city, like, barely anybody's from there. So, like, they're the only ones that kind of understand what your life's like, which is batshit crazy most of the time. So you end up getting on these tours and opening for people just because they're like, oh, we're playing in Ohio, and we have no one opening. You're going to be going through, want to open? Like, it just happens that way, you know? You just, like, make friends on the road, you know what I mean? Things just kind of, paths intersect, and they turn into get connections, and those connections turn into shows and turn into more shows. And
must be a trip, getting a call being like, hey, we want you to do something with Kanye West, and
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like a lot of times you're open for main acts like that, you barely even see them. You're not even going in from the same entrance, like you know what I mean. And I do a lot of hired gun work, so like, for instance, a couple of years ago, like a lot of like B-listers for like I got a call from a random person that like rents sound systems one time, and he goes, "Hey, you DJing tonight?" I'm like, "No, it's a Wednesday." He's like, "You want to DJ tonight?" I'm like, "For what?" He goes, go up to this address to skate arena, an ice skating arena, and it's we'll pay you $2,000 to play for an hour. I'm like, okay. So I go up there, and I don't know what it's going to be. I'm assuming it's some college thing. You know what I mean? I'll probably be playing in a corner, and it's background music, and I'll be being annoyed by people making requests all night. And I show up, and it's like a full blown stage light show, LED screens. I'm like, the hell's going on? They're like, oh, good, you're here. Let's backline your stuff. You're opening for Jesse McCartney tonight. I'm like, what? So just things like that just happen. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you leave yourself open to those type of things happening, eventually they will happen. There is a lot to be said for the power of positive thinking. And kind of guiding your destiny. And
if you're thinking negative, negative things are gonna happen to you. You always gotta keep that positive set of mind.
Yeah, you've got to just like people come to me and they'll be like, oh, so now you were in a band and you did Vegas and you were a headline entertainer and so you must be over with. I'm like, no, it's just another rung on the ladder. I don't even care how old I am. I feel 21. As far as I'm concerned, there's more to do. I've still got voice left. There's a lot of things I still want to do. And you never do this because people listen, but you're blessed that they do. Like I do this because I have to do it. If I didn't, I'd probably go crazy. It's my outlet. So I'm just blessed that there's a crowd of people that still find what I do relevant and they still get into what I do musically. Because without them, there's no me. So, but I would still be doing it even if there was nobody there. If I never made another dime making music, I'd still make music. It's not like something I do just because it's a job. You gotta keep the separation there.
Yeah.
It's fun to have a passion that becomes, a profession, but you've got to be able to keep the magic in that keeps it a passion and doesn't turn it into a grind, which can happen very easily. You're doing 420 shows a year. You're doing the same show every night. You eventually start getting into this like Groundhog Day atmosphere. Every day you're in a different city, in a different state. It becomes a blur, and it loses its passion and becomes very cookie cutter. And by the end of a long tour, when you're doing 400 shows a year,
you're burnt out.
You're burnt out, and you've got no creative voice left whatsoever. By the time you're done doing what you have to do in order to make a living, being an entertainer, you don't have enough energy or emotion to put your own stuff out. There's nothing left. You know what I mean? And there's a lot to be said for touring, with someone else's project. I learned a ton, and had a lot of amazing experience. These guys are great. We did a lot of great things together, but you get to a point where you don't want to be. Life's a finite thing, and you don't want to be living someone else's dream, and not yours.
Exactly.
So great. You're a headline entertainer on the Strip, doing stuff that you'd probably not do if it was your choice. You know what I mean? But because of circumstance and what you're doing and how you're a professional at it, it's somehow become your profession. You never see these things happening. You just kind of let, the universe take you where you're going to go in different experiences. And these things just end up happening. You know what I mean? So it's not like that was our end-all, be-all goal, you know what I mean, to like get on America's Got Talent or to be a headline show in Vegas or being able to DJ for Moby or, it just happens, you know what I mean? Like, you don't even have time to reflect. If you say to yourself, I'll just do that tomorrow, you've already failed. You've already failed. Like, people ask me all the time, like, what do you give for advice to someone that, is getting into this? Like, you better fucking love it. Like, you have to, because you will give up. Like you will. You'll give up. If you don't have to do this because it's a compelled, like you're compelled to do it, you won't survive. You know what I mean? Like it's not for everyone.
No, when you're a complete rookie and you walk up and you see, all these buttons and you have no idea what they do and have no clue about any of it.
I mean, I'm down for anybody. Like, listen, I go into people that have house parties all the time, all over the country, and I've walked into more than a dozen basements where I've seen some kid that's knocked my socks off that's like half my age, who's never played outside of his basement, and he's phenomenal. You know what I mean? Now, you can't take him and throw him in front of a crowd on equipment he doesn't know. There's a lot to being a professional, like, entertainer, especially DJing or any type of music, where you've got to be so versatile. I mean, you got to be able to literally, like, our motto is, like, how would you do it if you had a gun to your head? Like, you've got to be able to do anything that anybody asks at any point in the time frame they want it. If they say they want a whole new intro for a show, for a Nike's, like, big conference, annual conference in Vegas, and they're not happy with what we did, and we have to come up with 8 minutes, brand new minutes, and it's 2 in the morning, and we're on at 6 a.m., you're not going to sleep that night. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way it is. You're married to the job because you've made that commitment. That's what you do. That's you. You know, it's not a job. You are that. You know what I mean? Like, you miss holidays, you miss anniversaries, you miss deaths, births, weddings, birthdays. You miss everything. You know, you're
never home.
You're on the road. You know, people always say, oh, wow, you've made it. It's like, yeah. And I've also stood in the inner hall of San Antonio Stadium right before a halftime show that I was supposed to perform at, and my girlfriend at the time was telling me that her mom has stage 4 breast cancer, and I'm like, I gotta go. So there's a totally different side to being a professional musician that people don't even comprehend or even get their head wrapped around. You know what I mean? You don't know until it happens to you, and you're like, wow, this is not what I expected. I get it. I like it. I could do it for a while, but it'll grind you down. You know what I mean? Like it's tiring. It's one of those things you look back on and you say, wow, it was a romantic time and I loved it. But there's a lot of sweat and tears, along with those smiles, so.
Yeah, the smiles,
It takes both to make it happen, to make it that special, You got to be able to, get a call, like, right now that in an hour you're going to be packed in a bag for 3 months and be ready at the airport. Okay, cool. That's your life, you know what I mean? And I did it for a long time, you know what I mean? Like, God, did it for 2 years with Moby, and then we did it from like 2006 until 2013. Although the last couple of years we were kind of based in Vegas, we weren't touring all that much anymore. But for a majority of it, was usually doing over 300 shows a year.
Oh.
I mean, you have days off, even in Vegas. I mean, you'd play 5 shows a week. And then during the summer, it was really hot, so a lot of people don't go there in the summer. So you have dark weeks where, like, 2 weeks you won't have shows. We'd book 40 shows in Edmonton at their, like, national fair. And so we'd play, like, 4 shows a day for, like, 10 days. Then come back and do a show at 7 o'clock the next night. Like, so you never stop. You never stop. You don't have time to reflect. You just go. Just keep going.
Constantly
keep
going.
Keep playing shows, yeah.
So what keeps you going now? Like, what drives you?
I had to step back. Like, like I said, like, I had that epiphany where it's like, you can't spend this amount of time you have on this ride living somebody else's dream, especially when you have one of your own, you know what I mean? And it's not like listen, my bucket's full. I've been very, very blessed, and I'm very, very humble for the stuff that I've been able to do, and the people I've been able to meet and work with, and the experiences I've had. I'm completely content. I could slip and die slipping off a curb tomorrow. I'm content. I'm happy. I just want to be free to create my own stuff when I want to create it, and I've been, once again, blessed enough that I've found myself in a niche where I can do that, and people just kind of gravitate towards the music when it comes out, and it's great. You know, I love it. I would never want to be like a rock star of any sort. I like it quiet. You know what I mean? I've gotten a little taste of that, and we were like M-listers, not even like B-listers, and it was horrid. You know what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, I just want to be a regular person.
Yeah. You want to be able to live your life.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of jobs you can have in the music business and make 6 figures a year and still be able to walk in the store and nobody knows you. You know what I mean? Like, so you just find ways. I mean, if you want to exist in this industry, I've been lucky to say that probably 2/3 of my adult life since I was 18, I've been able to support myself just off music. But it takes a lot to do that. It's not just DJing shithole bars in southern New Hampshire. You know, it's going out, taking chances, and getting your face shutting doors a lot, and then one opens, and for every yes there's 1,000 no's.
Yep.
There's clubs you open, there's all sorts of things. You just try and get, it's all about, it's luck. You know what I mean? It really is. It's happenstance. It's one of those things where you try to be where the people that matter see you, and so you try to be everywhere at once so that you never miss where they're going to be.
And consistency.
Well, consistent. Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, you got to look at your music or your art as your product. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like any other product, you don't want it to be good one day and shitty the next. You know what I mean? Like, you want it to be consistent. Sure.
Yeah, you have to love it.
Yep. Oh, you have to love it. You have to love it, and it shows when someone really loves it. I think it shows. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some of my favorite DJs, the kids I play, the guys I play with on a weekly basis. I play with them. A lot of the times I won't even play. I just listen to them play, and they're awesome. I mean, a lot of these guys like SP1 and Midas, and those guys are like, they're legends to me. And we've all been playing around the same amount of time. And they'll always joke around and laugh when I say that. I'm like, dude, you guys are the best DJs I know. Like, I've seen a lot of fucking DJs. You know what I mean? And you guys, like, when they're up there, it's church for them. They don't care how many people are on the other side of the turntable. They're putting that music together because that's the way they want to do it at that moment, and they're living in the moment, and that's all you can do in this life. There's no history's already gone, and anything in the future is just conjecture. You don't even know what's going to happen. You're just guessing. The only thing that matters is what's going on right now, and when they're behind the tables, they're making now happen. They're making people forget about their everyday problems, and they're living in the moment. If you can make one person live in the moment every set, you've done your job as a DJ.
Yep, definitely. So, what do you see for the future?
I'm not one of those guys that like makes these lofty goals when people ask me those things. I take life the way the universe gives it to me.
Just as it comes.
I find that like when coincidences start happening and I start getting deja vus, that just means I'm on the right path. And as long as I keep those going in a consistent manner in my life, then I know I'm doing the right thing as far as I'm concerned. I try not to. I live kind of a Buddhist lifestyle. I'm not a religious guy, but I don't try to infringe on anybody's life, and I just kind of do my thing, and try to make people smile, with the music, and try to make myself smile with the music, So
definitely. Now your mixing style, you have kind of a battle style.
Yeah, I'm like a hodgepodge. I'm like halfway between. When I started in the rave scene, I'd been a hip hop DJ for years, and was an aspiring battle DJ, learning the tricks. I mean, just like every other degenerate DJ, me and a roommate had no furniture in our first apartment and just had a sound system, and we put our clothes in milk crates, and we had a mattress on the floor in our bedrooms, and the only thing that mattered was coming home from work and playing until 3 in the morning and drinking a 40, and
you got to get the tables first.
Yeah. I mean, we would have no power. We'd run the power from the back hallway, in where where the maid would come in and do the staircases, in between the apartments, would plug in there and run an extension cord so we still play at night. So I mean, it's one of those things like. It's not back in the day. I mean, you had to buy vinyl, and so you'd have to go into Boston to buy vinyl, and it was expensive, and it was not a cheap habit. You had to love it just then. Now it's a lot easier. Now you can pick up when Radio Shack is open, you go down there, buy a controller for $150 and call yourself a DJ in 3 hours. But when we were coming up, it was like a turntable was like $500. I was a poor kid. I mean, we lived in apartments my entire life. I was on I was on government, food stamps a lot of the time when I was young. So I mean, those type of things are like luxuries. I would never consider having a 1200. In fact, I didn't have my own set of turntables until I was 28 years old, and I won them in a battle. And that's the first time I ever had my own set of turntables. Up until that point, I only used other people's.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was already headlining raves and everything else for years. Like, I was already kind of an old man. That was like my second coming. That was after, like, the whole boom, phenomena that, swept the late 90s. Right at the tail end of that, I won the battle for New England. And that was the first time I had stepped back into that genre in a long time. I had been in a house. I basically converted in like 93, between 91 and 93, I went to my first rave up in Montreal. A friend brought me there, and I was a hip hop DJ at that point, and I was floored. Like, my jaw was on the floor. We got there, I'm like, all right, this is a closed down art museum the size of MoMA, and there's like 7 music venues going on, and there's like 8,000 people here, and no one's being an asshole. Like, I don't get it. Like, I was used to like going to shows where like the main act wouldn't get on because someone would fire a gun through the roof and stop the show. You know what I mean? Like, it happened like clockwork. I could set my watch by it. So to go to something with this massive, it made you feel really not hip with what's going on. Like, you thought you had your ear to the street, and then this was happening right under your nose. You're like, wow. Like, 8,000 people all gathering. I mean, granted, it's in a different country, but still, like,
Yep.
I mean, you're like dealing with like hip hop, like, as like a growing culture that just started, and like, the 70s and early 80s and into the 80s, flourishing. And then into the early 90s, which was another big renaissance. 91, 92 was a huge renaissance for hip-hop in the United States. And then this is happening at the same time. Mm-hmm. And somehow those two crowds just never intersect. Unless you're in a major city like New York or something like that. Then the subcultures kind of intersect. But being out in the suburbs, you don't see those things, together. So it was really like eye-opening. I was like, wow. And from the day after that, I started buying like techno records, because it wasn't even really. I mean, there was house records, but they were totally different back then. Techno was totally different back then. I mean, there was probably a handful of records you could buy. You know what I mean? Like, it was '93, so you were buying like imports, and people basically giving you records that. So that's how you started your collection. Like, someone would be like, all right, just take this shit that I don't want, and then start buying your own. And so I just started buying techno records. And then, just what I would do is, you were talking about my DJ style. I would incorporate the simple type of, like in hip hop, there's like straight up battle DJing where the guy's just going back and forth like a maniac and his hands are on fire. And then there's like the adept DJ that knows how to like semi like remix things live with vinyl, and make it very interesting to listen to with songs but literally like free forming the making like a jazz arrangement. You know what I mean? Like musicians would do with that, but with vinyl. And that was always my favorite. You know what I mean? Like when you'd hear like Mighty My from Philly, or something where like he would be playing like Brand Nubians into all the these great acts, but it would be like he'd be like starting with the instrumental and then scratching in the first verse and then going into the actual record and double copy mixing it. And back then it's like those were the cool things that you could do, and that would get the crowd bumping, and they could realize, because they know the songs and they could tell that's not what the song does, so they're like, that's being manipulated right now. Yep. You know what I mean? That's happening right now. So I'm like, why is nobody doing this at raves? Especially where you've got this music that's all beat driven, and you can use these type of simple juggling of beats and and doubles and triples and just basic scratching, which nobody was doing back then. And so I just decided that's how I was going to come up with my sound, is instead of just being the guy that just mixes beat to beat to beat, I was going to be more of a freewheel and just kind of learn how to do that well. You know what I mean? So that it was kind of what I did, and that's what I got known for.
Blend
and nobody
them
was
both
doing
together.
it. Yeah, and nobody was doing it at the time. So incorporating those type of hip hop style of mixing into house records and techno records was just it just took off. You know, I got lucky.
Yep.
It could have easily flopped on its face. I just got lucky. You know what I mean? Like people could have been like, "What are you doing?" You know, but you know, by chance they like it. So.
Well, we're gonna be blessed to have you mix for us today.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, I bet the crowd can't wait.
I don't even know what I'll play, but and everyone that knows me is like, "Of course you say that because that's what you say every time."
Yeah, you
yeah,
said
I don't
that
know.
before.
I mean, I've got some stuff I'm working on. So like, this is the time of year where I usually put out all my new mixes, and I've been dormant for quite a while. I mean, I think everyone has with the pandemic. I mean, everyone was live streaming at the beginning of it, but after that, I mean, just the fatigue of constantly back and forth of, you know, things being shut down and things being open, and it just like kind of really decimated what we've done, you know, as a regular outlet for, you know, socializing, you know. There used to be at least a handful of like weekly nights, you know, that you could go out and see everyone, you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just like gone to the wayside, obviously for obvious reasons. So I've, you know, now that like I feel like we're kind of gonna maybe shed this thing finally over the next year and a half, that hopefully, you know, optimistically, hopefully, but if so, you know, I think it's time. Like I've just been getting, like I've been hanging out with a lot of like, you know, the guys I mentioned, like SP1 and Phil Nominal and those guys, and I've been playing a lot with them. And it's kind of rekindled the fire under my ass, which was dead for a long time. I'm still playing a lot of gigs and stuff. I mean, I did more festivals this summer than I've ever done in my career, which is random at 51. I mean, you would have thought that like back in '95 I was killing it, and I was, but for some reason last year was huge. Just really lucky, blessed. But there was nothing new coming out of me. You know what I mean? Like I could ride the bike around the track 1,000 times. You know, like I can put the records in order and I can make sure they're all in key and make it sound like one beautiful symphony. But if there's no heart behind it, it's just riding the bike. You know what I mean? And and that's the way it was for a while. Just because of the pandemic and everything, I think it's just the stress of society right now. But just recently, you know, those guys have kind of re-sparked my interest. I'll go and, you know, it's Sean, really. Sean Spalding, SP1's really the one that kind of got me back into like really being hungry to make beats again and hungry to put mixes together. So as I was saying, this is the time of year where normally when I was younger, I'd be putting all my mixes out because winter's going to be over and people are going to start booking, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so like any of the like parties that are going to happen, stuff like that, or any like festies, you know, you want to have these mixes ready so when they have them. So I'm like in the midst of making a ton of mixes right now, which is so abnormal for me. I haven't done that in years, but we're having a lot of fun with it, you know. I'm having a lot of ideas that sound pretty good. I mean, I've been bouncing them off a few people. I've bounced a couple off you today. Everyone seems to like really be receptive of them. So I feel like I'm on the right path, and I'm just gonna keep, you know, doing what I do.
Yeah.
And if people listen,
keep doing it, man.
Then kill it. You know,
everything that I've heard come out is, you know, just amazing. You know,
you got to do it because you love doing it, and if it's relevant to other people, then that's fantastic. You know, that's great. That's just icing on the cake. You know.
Yeah, when you know watching you mix, it's fun watching you mix. You know, because you get into it and you have that battle style too.
I used to be way serious. Like when I was like,
you know,
I was so anal when I was in like. Now I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I took myself way too serious. You know, now I have no problem making mistakes, and it doesn't even bother me. Like, I'll screw up, and I'll just stop the music for a second and laugh to the crowd. Because it doesn't really matter, you know? It's like, it does to a point, you know what I mean? You know, like, I'll never get up inebriated and play a set. Like, but I will make mistakes during a set, and I mean, hey, I'm human. And it's funny, because I ran into someone who I hadn't seen in quite a while, and they were from the 90s rave scene. And they said, you know, I used to kind of hate you, like, secretly. And I said, really? And I'm like, we always got along. And like, we were just acquaintances. And he goes, well, I don't mean it that way. He goes, but I would be so mad, because he was a DJ as well. He goes, I would go to every gig that you would play, and you would never make a mistake. Like, you would just play flawlessly every time in the 90s. It was like recorded. It was like pre-made. And it would bugged the shit out of me. I'd go home and I'd practice and practice, and I could never get as perfect as you. And I'm like, wow, well, you shouldn't even be playing now because I fuck up all the time. Like, because now it's like, it's more of a, it's like a Jolly Buddha thing for me, you know? Now it's like, I'm done the proving ground. And I guess maybe you've never done that. And at some level, I'm more against proving myself to myself at this point. And as far as like trying to prove myself to other people, you know, it's like, I'm not doing it for that reason anymore.
You have to prove yourself sometimes.
I'm not my 20s.
To yourself.
Like, I love doing it because I love the soundscapes that you can make and the pieces of art you can make out of other people's pieces of art.
Yeah.
You know, it's no different than Warhol or Basquiat or mixed media artists of any sort. Shout out to Stacey Wilcox, by the way. Yeah, I mean, to us, this is our sculpture. You know, it's our audio sculptures.
Yeah.
That we put out. And they're all unique. You know, I don't like planning sets all that much because I think spontaneous invention is sometimes the most beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It can also be the worst thing ever. But you know, if you keep your head on straight and you kind of give yourself a light guideline, a lot of the times you can come out with some really amazing mixes that you wouldn't have come out with otherwise if you sat there and regimented every set and made sure that everything was in key and make sure that every break happened at the right time. It's like sometimes you just gotta let it happen.
Yeah.
I look at it this way. So when I was younger and I used to spin vinyl, there were times where you would have these sets where you were constantly struggling and you're constantly pulling and pushing the vinyl and you never felt like you were just like a hair off all night. Bug the hell out of you. You know, you leave the gig and you'd want to throw your records out the window on the way home. And then there's other shows where like everything fell into place. So when I mean everything, it was like everything. Like you would not have a set planned and you would have a record on it and the crowd would be perfect and the vibe would be perfect and the guy who played before you was phenomenal and everyone was on like just on the right wavelength. And you just pull a sleeve out of your record crate and put that record on and drop the needle and it would already be mixed, it would already be in time, it would already be in key, and it would happen throughout the entire set. It was like you weren't the painter, you were the brush. You know what I mean? You were the conduit.
Yeah.
The creation was creating itself. It was just using you as a tool to make that be known to people.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I tell people all the time. Like, yeah, when you're DJ, man, don't be the painter, man. Be the brush. Be the brush. Let it happen. You know what I mean? Like, some of it has to be out of your hands. Try not to control the whole thing. If you have enough control over this and you've been doing it for long enough, you have enough wherewithal to give it some leeway and let's see what happens, you know? The DJs that play like build, drop, build, drop, build, drop. It's like they never let the music breathe. There's no ambience. There's no... I mean, back when we were raving, it's like you had to give these kids ambience. Otherwise, they'd die of a heart attack because they've been dancing for 7 hours straight. That's what those breaks were in the music for, so that they could relax and kind of gather their head around things. And that's when you started having those religious experiences.
Drink some water.
Those were the things that, like, started the real, like, brotherhood of the rave scene because people would relax and they'd shake it off and they'd start hooting and hollering and they'd start clapping for the DJ. And then the music would start building, and then everyone would be right on sync, and that first drop would happen, and you'd see the entire room just lift off the ground a foot and drop at the same time. And it's like, we've got them, you know? And that's what you do it for.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just like to have that moment, you know what I mean? Like where everybody, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters except for what's happening right there.
Yep.
And a lot of people never have that. They never have that, you know?
Yeah,
people say opportunity knocks once. I don't think people know what a knock sounds like.
I think it knocks more than once. You know, you just gotta know when it's knocking.
You gotta be open. You gotta be open to anything. You know, most people, you know, I'll go to my high school reunion, my 20-year reunion. Half the people I went to school with look like my grandfather. Their hair's all white. They've got like 7 kids. They're just stressed out. You look at them and I'm like, man, like, I don't even care about like financial wealth at all. I just want to be happy and I don't want to have any regret. You know what I mean? I just want to be able to create things that make people smile and have a goddamn good time giving it to them, you know? The purpose of life, Picasso said this, the purpose of life is to find your gift and the meaning of life is to give it away. And
Very nice.
And I highly believe in that.
Very nice.
Yep.
Well, let's let you be the brush.
Oh, Jesus. It is, because there's nothing planned. So I'm definitely brush.
So we got him. He's got nothing planned. So he's definitely going to have to be the brush. Just want to let everyone know, April 2nd, we got Tenacious coming to Jewel in Manchester. Make sure you get your tickets for this Soul Speed production show. It's definitely going to be a club banger. You got Tenacious, O'Sheen, I mean, Maya, the pre-party, after parties, you know, yep, UK, it's going to be broadcast live into the UK. I mean, it's going to be off the charts. So you definitely need to get your tickets in for that one. So I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to let the brush have his way.
All right now, for all you boppers out there in the big city, all you street people with an ear for the action, I've been asked to relay a request from the Gramercy Riffs. It's a special for the Warriors. That's that real live bunch from Coney, and I do mean the Warrior. Here's a hit with them in mind.
Who are the Warriors?
Warriors, come out to play.
Latest sports news off the street bombers. The baseball Furies dropped the ball, made an error. Our friends are on second base and trying to make it all the way home. But the inside word is that the odds are against them. Stay tuned, bombers. Stay tuned.
There he is! That's him! That's the Warrior! We saw him! Yeah, that's him. He's the one! He's the one! The Warrior's getting the Warrior! Blow your
you go and get yourself a whistle and
blow your whistle. Hey, you. Hey, 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 hey. Blow your whistle. Hey, you. Blow your whistle. Just clap your hands and say, yeah.
like a clown. Out the sun, with the headboard bang like a clown.
yo, you don't want to fuck with us, you don't. You don't.
Yo, I just want to say if there's any problem with the live stream, check out me on YouTube, Mixcloud, Restream, Twitch TV, DLive, Facebook. I'm going to put the recorded of this up probably in a day or two. So I'll let everyone know about that and let me shut back up.
You don't.
Unreroute the rivers, let the damned water be. There's some people down the way that's thirsty, so let the liquid spirit free. The people are thirsty because of man's unnatural hand. Watch what happens when the people catch wind, when the water hit the banks of that hard, dry land. Liquid spirit, liquid spirit, liquid spirit, liquid spirit. Clap your hands now.
air, yeah, fuck. Put your finger in the air, yeah, fuck you. Get down. Oh. Oh.
you think of my man Pharoah?
It was okay. It was good. It was okay.
Just
fun.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me on, Mike. It
Dude.
really means a lot. I'm humbled.
I'm humbled. My pleasure. My pleasure.
It's definitely cool when you call me. I'm like, man, somehow I'm still relevant. I don't get it, but thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You are, man. You're a DJ I look up to. You know, you're somebody that
I appreciate
watch
that, man. Believe me,
inspiration and for learning. You know,
it's all about just like letting your mind go and just being creative. That's it.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, man. And I am so happy you came here and
As
we
am
got
I,
to
man.
do this.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. We'll do it again for sure.
Definitely. We'll definitely.
We live close.
Yeah. And we got some plans in the work, but
We do.
you know,
Yep,
that's
yep. We got some
it's on the
let's just say that
DL.
we've got maybe an on-site going on. We're going to do an in-store type thing.
Yeah.
We've been discussing, so that'll be
Big
coming
things,
up.
big things, you know.
Yep.
We're going to keep this going, going to keep this rolling. We got Soul Speed Productions. We got Handy Productions. And I want to say again, Tenacious is coming April 2nd
Badass.
to
It's gonna be a good
Jewel
night.
Nightclub in Manchester. Get your tickets because this will sell out. It's going to be a banger. Don't miss it.
If you want reduced tickets, you can put in Pharoah-SS, and that'll give you a 10% off. So
Look at that right there. You got it from the man Pharoah, 10% off your ticket price. Get on that website, the event page, and get your tickets now. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone out there.
Thank you.
In the entire world. I want to say thank you for taking the time to spend with us, hang with us, listening to us. And now it's time for me to shut up again and move on. Peace.